frontier is defined as uncharted territory by land or ocean. Those who chart that territory tell a story. The past illustrates the blueprint for the present, how things are and how they've evolved. From land to water, we are challenged to border that new frontier, a frontier the outdoorsman knows like no other. Author Gary Lewis works his way along that edge of where discoveries, failures, and achievements have written the story of the sportsman.
Yes! Yes!
From state to state, continent to continent, the stories told create the foundation of the present, and they lay the framework for the future. Through the muzzle fire and on the stone are stories from the edge.
Water is the most important thing as far as Indians are concerned, 'cause that's life.
The past is written, the present is here, and this is Frontier Unlimited.
All last summer, all through the fall, from the mouth of the Columbia at Astoria, all the way to Idaho's Clearwater, fishing for steelhead was closed until the hatcheries deemed they had enough fish to meet hatchery broodstock production requirements.
Okay, everybody grab a pole. Our first cast is gonna be on the left. You don't need to cast very far. Just do like a 20-foot cast, 30-foot cast, and then let out a little bit of line.
Okay.
It'll go down, it'll start bouncing the bottom. You don't need to jig it, you don't need to reel it in. When it gets heavy, when it starts to get heavy, then you pull back. And the main thing is to not pull back multiple times. You just want to set the hook one time, kind of like a mouse trap, and then keep it tight. Got barbless hooks. If you don't keep it tight, you know, odds of losing the fish are pretty high. So just get a pull, get ready. We'll fill you in as we go.
You want me any farther out than where I'm at, or is that good?
You're good. You just let out line until you get down to the bottom. So this hole is called Black Rock. Yesterday morning, I bet you 25, 30 fish come out of here in the first hour and a half. So it'd be interesting to see what today's like.
Yeah.
I would estimate 150 fish got caught out of here yesterday.
Man.
You know, it's been closed for 2 months.
Okay, yeah.
To pile up, and they were just stacked in here, like every little nook and cranny there was a fish hanging.
Oh, that's so awesome, man. I got a steelhead on here. That's what I think.
Bunch of loosen the drag just a hair. First drift, fish on. Was that on a ball of eggs? It was, wasn't it?
Wyatt kept them in sync with a flow of water beneath the faster top current.
Ooh. Sometimes that happens. These are special eggs. The eggs we're using today, I caught them at the Hanford Reach. They're salmon eggs. They're fully developed, and I caught them, I cured them, and I actually do a process with these eggs that takes months to get them to if you had a ranking for eggs, these are a 10 plus. This is as good as I can do for eggs. You'll find they stay on well, they hold their color great, the fish love them. Most of the ones we caught yesterday were 10, 12 pounds. We had probably 3 or 4 that were probably 14, 15.
Oh, nice.
That's one thing about the Clearwater. You know, we used to have 30-pound fish in here, but as time went on, you know, they've been harvested out by man and killed off by various different things. We still have a tremendous amount of nice fish in here, but short cast on the left, let out a little line. So as time went on, we don't have the monster steelhead like we used to have, but we still have the best average size of any river in the Northwest. Our fish average 10 pounds. And to average 10 pounds on your fish, that's a heck of an average. But you know, when I started, you know, when I was a kid, the average was 12 pounds. So as time went on, and it's kind of typical of all fisheries, the size has decreased. We got 2 lines on this fish, and it's still ripping line out. So the cool part about Idaho is they've set all that water aside for spawning. So you have prime habitat, and it feeds the whole Columbia River system. So it just beeped, it read the tag that's in the fish, and it stores it in here. So when I give this back to the Fish and Game, it tells them everything about that fish.
Big smile. It was.
Okay, we're going left.
Whenever I haven't been steelhead fishing for a long time and I get back in here, especially when we're side drifting and using bait and beads, then I gotta get back in tune with the bottom of the river and what that steelhead bite feels like. And I've been getting bit on almost every pass. And lots of times you don't get those fish that bite, but the faster my reaction time, the more I'm gonna hook up. So I just gotta dial in and get my intensity back up there. Oh man.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Toby Wyatt, with his hand on the tiller, 15-year-old Gus Smith leaned into gray-bearded Phil Jost, who spoke steelhead truths in low tones. It was Gus's first steelhead trip.
You're gonna feel the lead tip ticking on the bottom. It's kind of like a beat, kind of a snap to it. When a fish picks it up, it's gonna be more like you have a rubber band tied on the end of your rod, and it's gonna kind of give you a whoa whoa. And when it goes down, you want to come back, set the hook, and reel.
It's a really incredible story to think that this is a generation of fish that hasn't seen bait until yesterday. And so they haven't been pressured. This is a very unique thing.
It is very unique, and yesterday it was unbelievable. That was probably the best fishing I had seen on this river in 15 years. There's a fish. Looks like a trout or a whitefish. If it's hatchery, we're gonna keep it. Phil likes to eat them.
Okay.
There are native rainbows and native cutthroats, but they're up the river.
I mean, I could even see the swivel when I was setting the hook.
That was a solid fish right there. Yeah, so we've been fighting through some struggling runs now, and a lot of it has to do, we have, in the ocean, we have what they call a blob. The ocean is 5 to 7 degrees warmer than normal. So a lot of these fish, when they get to the ocean, there's not enough food source. The anchovies and the herring, they have gone away to seek colder water. They're smart, and they know they got to survive. So when I was in Astoria Buoy 10 this year, A lot of the salmon I caught, they had weird stuff in them. Surf perch.
Really?
Surf perch, yes, that was the oddest. Squid, lots and lots and lots of shad, baby shad. So that's a good food source for them. And there's, as you know, there's hundreds of thousands of shad that come up the Columbia River.
Yeah, millions.
Yeah, so the fish are smart, they've adapted, and I think that's great. Well, let's go up there and hit that again. Here we go.
Just took it, not super hard, just took it down.
I've only ever caught the $50 reward ones. We'll see how lucky we are today. Once again, we're doing the catch and release mortality. This fish also has spaghetti tags. So we know it's got a pit tag because it won't have a spaghetti tag without pit tags. It's got 2 spaghetti tags. So hopefully one's a reward. There are some rewards that are $2.50, so we'll see. Okay, nothing. No reward.
The fish is the reward. Yeah. So with a river, you've got different layers of speed of the current. So the top layer is going faster than the bottom current. And what Toby's doing is he's keeping the boat going more about the speed of that lower current, that lower water. And so with the side drifting, what we're trying to do is present the most natural drift that we can to these baits. And so a good guy on the motor makes all the difference.
Okay, I'm gonna try to work him over into this calm water again. We like our young anglers to get plenty of experience. Just work yourself over there. Well, that hole's treating us well. So that fish was, we thought it might have been a keeper because we could keep fish 28 inches and under, but we measured it was 30 and a half, it's too big. Oh, here we go, going to the waterfall. Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Closest thing I've caught to a steelhead was Chinook salmon, or red salmon, and it didn't bite nearly like these. These fight way harder.
Man, there's nothing like this. There's nothing like steelhead fishing.
Over the next 4 hours and 15 minutes, Lewis landed 5
Yeah, just
steelhead.
put those up there
The
for a
biggest
second.
was 15 pounds and the smallest was 10 pounds.
Oh man. Look at those scales shine. Yeah. Wow.
All right, kids, reel them up. We're gonna go up around the corner. We're gonna put some plugs out.
Oh, okay.
As we troll, we're gonna cook you lunch.
Okay.
We'll see how that works.
We'll see if we like that.
One of my buddies did really good yesterday trolling.
Oh, really?
We'll see if we can try to duplicate what he did. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Man, that smells good. whenever it's lunchtime and we keep on fishing, you know, or cooking lunch, that's often when we get a fish. So.
It's the bacon.
The bacon, yeah.
So the state of Washington, the state of Oregon, the tribes, and Idaho, everybody's shut down. We're like, okay, we have to focus on these fish. We got to get enough fish back to make the next crop. So everybody shut everything down, and because these fish are able to swim freely with, you know, nobody fishing for them, nobody netting on them, it allowed our hatchery to get what they needed. All our hatcheries got all the fish they've needed already to make the next crop. So that means there's an excess amount of fish in here for us to fish on.
After lunch, they fished through the side hole, through the pull yard hole, and back down to Black Rock.
One of the things that's always fascinated me, where the fish lay in any section of river. The places we've fished so far today, we've been very consistent about hitting the edge of the soft water with our casts. And you got to try to picture the gravel bottom and these round river rocks and the structure that's underneath, and then the current, and try to determine where the fish are going to like to lay, because there could be 50, 100, 150 fish laying in this run, and if you're casting in the wrong spot, you're not putting your bait in front of the fish, and that's the important thing, is to fish where the fish are. So this whole science of reading water is just fascinating, and the places that steelhead will lay change from time to time depending on the turbidity, the flow, and the temperature of the water too. So if the temperature of the water drops quite a bit, then they'll move into even softer water. And it's a fascinating aspect of the sport that has always intrigued me.
Okay, we're gonna cast out on the right here, but let me get over there. This one's a little harder to stay on the bottom. You might have to let out line a couple times.
Okay, I got this.
He's all over the place here. I gotta get coming through. Dude, that was the best shrimp bite I've ever had in my whole life.
Nice!
It snapped my wrist. Seriously, my wrist broke. Like, I think I'm gonna have to wear a wrist brace tomorrow.
In the bow of the boat, Gus yearned to earn that first honest fish.
Finally a fish.
So Toby, what's the future of this fishery? Where's it going?
Well, that's a good question, because right now it's not looking too good. In fact, it's looking really dismal. There's so many problems that face this fishery right now. I could go on for hours. And it's really hard to say what's gonna happen. I will tell you one thing. We need all user groups and all agencies to work together. Instead of trying to tackle the biggest obstacles, if we could all come together and just improve 10 to 20 small things, it would make a huge difference. You know, there's things that are out of our control, like ocean conditions. We can't change that. That's out of our control. And if the ocean doesn't get any better, it's hard to say what'll happen. But there's lots of little things we could do if we could all be on the same page. All of us groups are actively participating in recovery. I mean, in the last month, I've been to Boise twice, Twin Falls once, Olympia twice, several meetings in Lewiston, and those were all fish recovery meetings. So, you know, it's an uphill battle, but if everybody works together and gets on the same page, recovery can happen.
We're all in this together.
That's right.
Steelhead fishing on the Clearwater will continue through April 30th. The daily limit is 1 steelhead, 28 inches or less. In case you were wondering, they didn't catch any fish under 30 inches. That was fine with the crew.
Hey, Gary.
Yeah, good to see you.
Everybody doing great.
That's good.
Gus?